What if I told you that right now there's a dog who survived being buried alive for 50 days, a cat who fell 32 stories and walked away, and a whale who lived for 130 years with a harpoon in its back? These aren't just lucky breaks. These are survival stories so incredible they'll make you question everything you thought you knew about the limits of life itself. Today, we're counting down the top 10 most jaw-dropping animal survival miracles that prove life has a way of fighting back against impossible odds. Number 10. The penguin who swam home across an ocean. Meet Emperor, a penguin who got lost during a storm and ended up 2,000 miles away from Antarctica on a New Zealand beach. Scientists nursed him back to health and fitted him with a satellite tracker. This little guy swam 2,000 miles back to Antarctica, navigating by pure instinct across dangerous oceans. The tracker showed he swam in an almost perfectly straight line, like he had a built-in GPS system. Number 9. The horse who ran on 3 legs. Molly was a pony in Louisiana when Hurricane Katrina hit. The storm surge swept her away, and her right front leg was so damaged it had to be amputated. Everyone thought her story was over. Horses can't survive on 3 legs. But with prosthetic specialist help, Molly became the first horse to successfully use an artificial leg. She became a therapy horse, visiting hospitals and inspiring people who had lost limbs. Number 8. The cat who defied gravity. In 1987, a cat named Sabrina fell from the 32nd floor of a New York high-rise. That's over 300 feet straight down onto solid concrete. By every law of physics, she should have been dead on impact. But when rescuers found her, she was not only alive, but conscious, with just a collapsed lung and a chipped tooth. Here's the mind-blowing part. Scientists discovered that cats actually have better survival rates from falls above 7 stories than below. It's called high-rise syndrome, and it happens because cats reach terminal velocity around the 7th floor and then relax their bodies, spreading out like furry flying squirrels. Sabrina lived for many more years, probably wondering why humans make such a big deal about a little tumble. Number 7. The dog who survived 50 days buried alive. In 2003, rescue workers in Armenia were searching through the rubble of a collapsed building when they heard something that shouldn't have been possible: barking. The building had been down for 50 days. Nothing could survive that long without food or water, right? Wrong. They pulled out a dog who had been trapped in a tiny air pocket, surviving on melted snow and pure unbreakable determination. The dog, later named Hope, had lost half her body weight but was somehow still alive and fighting. Veterinarians couldn't explain it. Humans can only survive about 3 days without water, but Hope had stretched that to nearly 2 months. She made a full recovery and became a living symbol of resilience that inspired an entire nation. Number 6. The whale with a 130-year secret. In 2007, Alaskan whalers found something extraordinary embedded in a bowhead whale's neck, a harpoon tip from the 1880s. This whale had been carrying whaling equipment for over 130 years, surviving being harpooned and living through 2 world wars. Scientists estimated the whale was at least 150 years old, making it one of the longest-lived mammals on Earth. It had turned a weapon meant to kill it into just another piece of jewelry. Number 5. The tortoise who survived a nuclear bomb. Meet Kane, a Japanese tortoise who was living peacefully in Hiroshima on August 6, 1945, when the world changed forever. The atomic bomb dropped, destroying everything in its path. But somehow Kane survived ground zero of humanity's most destructive weapon. Rescue workers found her days later, burned and injured but miraculously alive. The radiation levels should have killed her instantly. They were lethal to almost every living thing in the blast zone. But tortoises, it turns out, have biological superpowers we're only beginning to understand. Kame lived for another 20 years after the bombing, becoming a living symbol of hope and resilience, proving that sometimes the smallest, slowest creatures are actually the strongest survivors on Earth. Number 4. The bear who lived with half a head. In Alaska, wildlife officials discovered a bear living normally with half of its skull missing. The bear, nicknamed Splithead, had survived a massive head injury that exposed part of its brain. The injury should have been fatal, but this bear was hunting, mating, and raising cubs normally. Its brain had rewired itself to compensate for the missing parts, proving animal brains are far more adaptable than we imagine. Number 3. The elephant who walked on a landmine. In war-torn Cambodia, an elephant named Chuk stepped on a landmine left over from decades of conflict. The explosion destroyed his foot and should have been an absolute death sentence. Elephants need all 4 legs to support their massive 4,000-pound weight, and in the wild, this injury would have meant certain slow starvation. But Chuk was found by wildlife rescuers who absolutely refused to give up on him. They created the world's first elephant prosthetic foot, designing a special boot that could handle the incredible weight and complex movement of such a massive animal. The first few attempts failed completely, but Chuk kept trying, learning to walk again step by determined step. Today, he runs and plays like any other elephant, becoming an ambassador for both elephant conservation and landmine awareness across the world. Number 2. The dog who survived the tsunami. When Japan's devastating 2011 tsunami swept away entire cities in minutes, a dog was caught in the chaos and swept out to sea, presumed dead like so many others. But 3 weeks later, when all hope had been abandoned, rescuers spotted something absolutely impossible floating on debris in the vast Pacific Ocean. The dog, somehow still alive. She had survived 3 weeks floating on makeshift debris with no food or fresh water, enduring conditions that should have killed her within days. When they pulled her from the water, she was dehydrated and weak, but miraculously still breathing. But the real miracle came later. Her owner had also survived the disaster and was living in an evacuation center. Their emotional reunion video went viral worldwide, showing that sometimes love is strong enough to survive even nature's most devastating disasters. Number 1. The whale who carried her dead calf for 17 days. In 2018, a killer whale named Tailequah gave birth to a calf that died within hours. What happened next stunned marine biologists worldwide. Tailequah began carrying her dead calf on her head, pushing it through the water for 17 straight days and over 1,000 miles. Her entire pod swam alongside her, supporting her through unimaginable grief. The physical effort should have exhausted her, but Tailequah's maternal love was stronger than physics. She was mourning in a way that proved animal emotions run deeper than humans understood. After 17 days, she finally let her calf go. But here's the miracle. 2 years later, Tailequah gave birth to a healthy calf. She had survived grief and found the strength to love again. If these incredible survival stories amazed you and made you believe in the impossible, hit that like button. It shows us you want more mind-blowing content. And make sure to subscribe because the animal kingdom is full of miracles waiting to be discovered. Which survival story inspired you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you know of any other incredible animal survival miracles, share them. Your story might just make our next countdown. Remember, in a world full of impossible things, these animals prove that miracles happen every day.